Well, Royal Caribbean has extended its decision to not go to Labadee for the next month, and one Royal Caribbean guest had a very unique take on sleeping under the stars, and we're going to talk about that and get your opinion. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, Adventure Fam? Hope you're doing well. Before we jump into the stories, you know how I roll. I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. If you're not yet part of the Adventure Fam, I would invite you to subscribe. We've got some pretty cool trips coming up, and we want you to be a part of that as well. And we appreciate everybody's support. We love you guys. And without further ado, let's kind of just roll with it and see where we end up. So today is a beautiful day outside in Glendale, Arizona. The weather is starting to turn, and I'm super excited about that. The spring time frame is the best weather for Arizona. It's not cold, and it's not quite hot yet. So this is kind of like our perfect timing. So we love it. If you've never been out here, we encourage you to come visit. It's an amazing place, especially during this time frame. So let's jump into story number one, which has to do with Royal Caribbean's private destination of Labadee, Haiti. Now, if you were with this channel about a week ago, and or you just been watching the news, you know that Royal Caribbean has canceled all sailings to Labadee. And at the time of reporting it last week, when they announced it, they were just canceling a few sailings. They've now come out and said they're canceling the next month of sailings to Labadee as well. Now, anybody that's been watching the news or you've seen on YouTube some of the fighting that's going on in Haiti, it's gotten pretty bad there. And I don't personally, and I said this last week, I don't personally believe it's going to get better anytime soon. I honestly don't know when cruise ships are going to get back to Labadee. Now, the fighting isn't actually in Labadee. That's the crazy part. It's about 6.5 hours away in Port-au-Prince. However, there's a lot of gangs running around. There's a lot of prisoners running around. There was a massive prison break. If you didn't see that video, go ahead and check that out. We posted about that about a week ago, but there was a massive prison break where 4,000 criminals were pretty much let out of the prisons, and now they're all running the streets. And so even though Labadee is about 6.5 hours away, Royal Caribbean is taking a cautionary tale. They don't want anything to happen. They don't want it. Nobody knows if anybody's going to move down to the touristy area or try to get to Labadee. Nobody knows that. There hasn't been any indication of that. That's important to note. There's been no indication that they're going to go down to the Labadee area. However, this is unlike any kind of private destination or private island like Coco Cay, or if you're a Disney cruiser, Castaway Cay. It's not like that, right? So Labadee is actually on the mainland of Haiti, and so there is no separation between where all this infighting is happening and Royal Caribbean's private destination. And so with everything going on there, they are taking a cautionary tale and cautionary stance of, hey, listen, we're not going to go there until things die down a little bit. And so even though they're protected by barbed wire fences and security and things of that nature, you just don't know when you have a bunch of rebels running around, gang leaders running around, and 4,000 criminals on the loose. They can easily overtake, I would assume easily overtake whatever security Royal Caribbean might have at Labadee and their surrounding area. So they're taking a cautionary tale. They are not going to be going to Labadee for the next month. Now, the reason for the timing right now with Royal canceling a month in advance is to provide ample time to the guests and for Royal to be able to reroute itineraries with minimal effect on the current itineraries of what those ships are sailing. So depending on the ship, the time of which you're sailing and the length of sailings and things of that nature, all of that's going to take into account where you're going to be rerouted. One that's really interesting is the Odyssey of the Seas, which is going to be the March 24th departure. Instead of Labadee, they're actually going to go to Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. Now, what's interesting about this itinerary change is Puerto Plata is actually connected by a border, on the border by Haiti. And so it's only 110 miles away, but there's a heavily guarded border. Right now, no itineraries to the Dominican Republic have been affected. So I think that's really interesting that they're going to bypass Labadee, which is on the same island, and they're going to go to Puerto Plata, which is 110 miles, which is not that far from the capital there. But I guess because they have a heavily guarded border, they feel a little bit safer with that than they do in Labadee. But so nothing in Puerto Plata or Dominican Republic has been affected. They are actually going to be rerouted to Puerto Plata on the April 4th cruising of the Independence, or Odyssey of the Seas, I should say. Now, when alternative ports are not feasible or they can't be accommodated, Royal Caribbean's coming up with a couple of options. The first option is they may spend an extra day at sea, and second option is they may spend an extra day at Coco Cay, depending on the ship, the sailing date, and all of that. And so they are looking at their different options, but looks for some of those longer sailings where an alternative port may not be possible, you're going to be spending an extra day at sea, or you're going to be spending an extra day possibly at Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Now, as far as the case for the Oasis of the Seas, which is a March 31st 7-night sailing out of Miami, that 7-night cruise is actually going to be spending the second night at Coco Cay. So if you're on that March 31st Oasis of the Seas sailing, you're going to be spending 2 nights in Coco Cay for that sailing instead of going to Labadee. Now, regardless, if you've booked an excursion or you've spent money to do something on Labadee, all of that money is going to be credited back to your shipboard account automatically for you to be able to use, on whatever you want as shipboard credit. However, at the end of the cruise, if you still have some credit left over, that will be deposited back to the original card on file for a refund. So, this is just one of those things that Royal Caribbean is monitoring. They want to be safe. Safety is their number one priority when it comes to their guests, and so they want to make sure that everybody's being safe and accounted for, and making sure that they're not making any decisions that might affect their guests or the cruise line in general. So I think it's a smart move. I don't think the Haiti situation is going to die down. That's a very political situation, a politicized situation, I should say. And so I think this is a right move for Royal Caribbean. It really stinks. Really makes me think about the future of Labadee in general. That Haiti's been kind of unstable for quite some time, so it does make you wonder about the long-term longevity of Labadee when it comes to having it as a port. And so you got to wonder if down the road, if Royal Caribbean is going to think about maybe removing that port altogether. I guess we'll see. There's no word of that right now, of course. Still early in the game, but you got to wonder from a long-term visionary prospect, with Haiti and everything going on there, if guests are not comfortable going there, will Royal rethink whether or not that becomes a non-stop for them and kind of do something with Labadee and just kind of abandon it. Now, I want to get to cruise ship story number 2, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this, but has to do with the allure of the seas. And on March 13th, they were docked in Coco Cay, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, and I actually believe my sister and her family were on this ship at the time, but they were docked, and another ship peered over, and what did they see? They saw a cruise ship balcony, and they saw a cruise ship passenger bringing their mattress out onto their balcony to lay down, read some books, hang out, and do their thing. So really interesting. I've never seen anybody do this before. I've never certainly pulled furniture out of my stateroom to put it on the balcony, and I'm curious on how Royal doesn't really have any formal rules on it. There's nothing formal in Royal Caribbean's rules that says you can't do it. But what's your thoughts? Here's a photo of the guy doing it. They're just chilling, hanging out, laying, and just reading a book on their mattress. But I know I've seen some comments where some people have said they've pulled furniture out onto their balcony before. Some people have pulled their couch cushions to lay on the balcony. But some people have also said, great, now there's a mattress that's been sitting outside on a deck that somebody else now has to sleep on the next cruise. Or with the humidity and the misting in the air, could it possibly grow mold while it's sitting back on the bed? There's all kinds of things like that. So I don't know what the right thing is here, but I would love to hear your opinion on is pulling furniture out of your stateroom onto your cabin an appropriate thing? Or does it depend on the piece of furniture? Do you agree with the mattress coming out to the balcony? I don't personally think it's, a good thing to do. I do worry about the misting and the humidity and everything like that, and mold being able to grow in an environment once you put it back on. Not to mention when somebody else comes to sleep, then now they're sleeping on a bed that's been outside. So what's your take on that? Let me know. Just a quick little blurb. I just wanted to kind of get your guys' opinion. But today's a beautiful day in Glendale, Arizona. Hopefully it's beautiful where you are at. Go out, enjoy the day, and be blessed and be thankful. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.